Hi, this is Nikhil Murthy's Syphilisation, a postcolonial forex game in which you play a student doing a group report on Gandhi, Churchill, and the Raj. Let's get right into it. So over here we have a unit. Just going to move around, explore a little bit. Over here, basically all around, you can see these camps. These are where people local to the region have set up. To control a region, you need to have the favor of the majority of the people of the region. And if no one has sufficient favor, the region remains autonomous. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set up the city, which is currently nomadic, right next to both of these camps and end the turn. So now it's just choosing technology. This is fairly standard right now. There's some things that come up later. Basically, I built this game to try to bring ideology into the mechanics to kind of ask and answer the question, how would one design an ideological game intentionally? And Forex games, they have a lot of colonial mechanics and a lot of imperialistic thought baked into them. So I went through the features one by one to try to come up with post-colonial alternatives. Here, the tech tree is much more fluid than what you might be used to. You can see it doesn't just go on from the beginning to the end of history. Instead, there are lots of small fragments of groups, and based on your playing and what you research, you'll come across different fragments somewhat randomly. And you can also see that there's a lot of redundancy across the tech tree. So just a slightly less tech deterministic view of history and the world. So right now I'm just exploring a little bit more. Over here we have found our first lock. Basically, to get out of the home region and into the next region, there are some camps that function as locks into that region. So we've started a campaign to open up those locks, and we can either do that through unit combat or through just filling out the quests that each of these camps give us. So right now this camp wants us to explore Gandhi and India, which is something I was going to do anyway, so I'm going to take this unit and try to find the other camp, the camp on this right side, instead of getting into combat. So yeah, I can do this. Right now it wants 25 turns. Pretty extreme, but let's see how that goes. So here's our first fact, which is a quote from the collected works of Mahatma Gandhi. It's Gandhi's discussion with a capitalist, where he talks about how the imperialism of England keeps much of the world in chains because of the existence of colonial economics, where countries like India, South Africa were kept impoverished in order to supply industry in England. And the point is that if the 300 million that India was at the time took to such exploitation, it would strip the world bare. And yeah, I'm not going to, I feel like don't even need to make a statement affirming that. It's self-evident at this point. But anyway, just going to keep exploring over here, see what's going on. And I unlocked another fact, Gandhi's opposition to tea. It's a little bit of a joke. Some of these facts are done fairly humorously because one of the goals of this game is to work against great man theory, because that's something that's endemic to Forex games, to many games, and to many history books as well, where they view history as the actions of a few great people. And I also wanted to undercut the authority of myself while doing this. I wanted to push back a little bit against the authority of the game and the game maker and the systems of the game. So some of the facts are small jokes like that one about Gandhi's opposition to tea, which is of course true. Gandhi did write against tea. That quote that you saw down there is a real Gandhi quote, but perhaps a little more light-hearted than him talking about the dangers of unchecked capitalism, for instance. Anyway, getting back to it, this is Tagore on Europe. This is from his work Nationalism from the year 1917, where he's talking about the contradictions of Europe, how there is a lot of beauty in the European soul that is being undercut by European colonialism of the time. Right? This is Gandhi meeting Mussolini. This is from the year 2020. It's about temple attacks in Pakistan. And this is a quote from C.F. Andrews saying that one may search the pages of history in vain to find any man in any age, religious teacher, military conqueror, political statesman, who has held at one time so vast a power over so many human beings during his own lifetime. The man who sees no power in Gandhi is the man who knows no power save that of the ballot box and the battlefield. And that's a lot of what I'm trying to criticize with this game. 4X games as a whole, they don't even see power in the ballot box, merely the battlefield. So I'm building this game to say, what if there were other sources of power? What if you don't have to exert yourself purely in military terms? And a lot of this game is just going through the features of 4X games one by one and trying to come up with post-colonial alternatives, just see where we end up. So right now I'm still just researching. I'm unlocking that region. I'm trying to unlock this region as well. And yeah, I'm going to try to get some favor in this new role that is opened up, the role of the learner, and try to establish myself there as well. In the meantime, I've just built another scout. Let's explore down here. Keep searching for inspirations with that unit, and do the same thing here. Meanwhile, I have these roles. I have this option for self-improvement. I'm going to try studying a little bit. That will accelerate my ongoing occupation to research Gandhi a little bit, and that will complete the quest for this camp over here. In the meantime, I've unlocked some new facts. Let's see what we've got. We've got Sri Lanka's uprising in 2022. Kropotkin in 1892 talking about the Paris Revolt. And this is actually Jean-Paul Sartre, but from Fanon? No, I'm sorry, my mistake. This is Fanon writing to Sartre in Sartre's book, Colonialism and Neocolonialism. And this quote has actually stuck with me for a long time, that the last battle of the colonized against the colonizers will often be that of the colonized among themselves. Because you can really see the bones of the colonial era in a lot of present-day conflict. And I'm sure you can come up with some examples yourself, but this game also goes over a lot of that. So you can try that out. Meanwhile, we've finished our first inspiration. I'm just going to turn on the currency indicators here, just make it a little easier for myself. To complete this inspiration, I need to have it harvest all of this currency. So I'm just looking for where to start with that. You can see that it requires a lot of expression, which is tough because it doesn't seem like it's in any of these three regions. So I'm going to start moving it towards the region for Radha, because I know that area will have a fair bit of expression. But I'm also just going to harvest on the way there and try to knock off some of that requirement. In the meantime, I'm just going to keep exploring, examining these anomalies as we go in order to try to generate some more quests, generate some more favor in the area, and just develop that region a little. I'm going to continue exploring Gandhi. Let's see what we got. We've got Bernard Shaw on Gandhi. Neo-fascism in India, talking about Narendra Modi. Wodehouse on Gandhi. It's just another little joke. And George W. Bush explaining Churchill as a Texan, which again amuses me. So that's pretty much where we are. We're just going to keep going like this for a little bit longer. Let's try to generate some more research, generate some more favor, generate some more inspirations, that kind of thing. Right, this one, you can see this one requires more self-improvement. So we're going to take that down towards the learner category, but first we're just going to finish off at least these two research and that one food right here. Meanwhile, with this unit, we can see our favor scores right here. So you can see I now have the majority of the favor in the region below, and I've got a bunch of units there. So I'm actually going to take him over to this new region here and explore that a little bit. Here we can see this one requires a ton of currency and some amount of food. So we're going to start by bringing that here where we can get the food and get some of the currency, and then we'll try to find the rest. We've met the first of our players here, the first of the other players, Kiran. We are not going to start a new campaign to become friendlier with her just yet because we kind of have a lot going on. We probably could have had we been willing to push a little, but I think we'll keep things simple right now. I'm just going to move this unit here so that it can get some favor from that camp and maybe develop it a little bit too. Meantime, we'll still explore Gandhi. Look at that self-encouragement, showing Kipling's depth of understanding of India, Hitler and the Tories agreeing on India, and the EIC and American taxes. This is quite an interesting one. The East India Company, due to massive corruption, basically got to the brink of bankruptcy, which in itself had major ramifications, and the government in London decided that it was too big to fail and agreed to a bailout. To fund this, however, they needed to get cash, and so they looked to the colonies in North America, where taxes were substantially lower, and decided to tax tea in 1773. So you can really get a sense of how all of these events had large global ramifications at the time. And a thing that is not well known is that when the American Revolution happened, when the French Revolution happened, and then when the Napoleonic Wars happened, these were not limited to just Europe. You saw Tipu Sultan, the ruler of the Mysore kingdom, send support to the Americans, I think during the War of 1805, because he, like Napoleon, saw the American conflict as part of the larger positioning between England and France and wished to forestall English dominance, knowing that that would in turn lead to the English cracking down on Mysore, which they eventually did across 4 wars. And that is how Mysore State eventually was defeated by the British and became a princely state as part of the larger British Raj. And Tipu Sultan himself was killed and deposed, and then the Wadiyars, the current royal family of Mysore, came into power again. To be fair, like they were in power before, but then not quite deposed, but sort of superannuated by Tipu Sultan and his father Hyder Ali. But anyway, that jaunt into Kannada politics aside, right now we're still just trying to explore a little, trying to unlock the remainder of the regions. Right now there's still 2 left. We're just going to keep studying here. So this is a quick quote from Nationalism by Tagore and Hints of Self-Culture. That's an interesting one. Anyway, yeah, pretty much continuing on as we were. You can see here that we have 2 regions that are yet to be unlocked, so we need to do that to complete this claim quest. And we also got a couple of major quests from our roles that we control, the role of ourselves and the role of being the learner in the group. So you have to complete a technology and basically grow a camp somewhere. So we're just going to keep working towards those. Yeah. Right now things are pretty straightforward, just researching some technologies. We're placing the city next to camps because it gets the production of camps that it's adjacent to. And additionally, we're going to place it here. Oh, I'm sorry, this is just a unit. But the next time we do get to settle our city, we will settle it right in this spot here so that it bridges these 2 zones of camps. And then it'll also hopefully cause one of them to grow into this, thus connecting these camps. And connected camps all give their produce to whichever city they're connected to. That's one thing, but they also share a lot of they share the projects that are completed, and it just lets you get more productivity. And right now we're still in an early enough stage that we want that productivity. You can see we're already generating some amount of pollution across the map, but it's still early enough that that's more manageable. Ideally we wouldn't even be producing that much. But the thing is that the people of each region have some amount of control over how things are shaped. Basically, each of these, let me see if I can show you, each of these camps, they start out raw and then they develop into a different kind of camp depending on what tiles they covered and what you've done in the region. And some of them become preserves like this. So you can see there's no pollution being generated here. But some of them become districts, like this studying district or this interest district. And they'll produce pollution for all of the wasted production of the area. In addition, you can see that this preserve is already polluting a little bit just because it's producing so much. So in this game, production cannot be separated from pollution. Anyway, so now I'm just going to keep exploring here. Let's get another feel of that. I've met Radha. That's the second of 3 players to meet. And now I've got to find some self-improvement. So I can either go down here or go over here. I think I'll take this unit out there so that I can get some more exploration done in that part. Over here we can see that we're at 0 favor in this region. Radha's at 1 and the environment is at 7. So right now this region is going to remain autonomous unless one of us can generate enough favor to have it flip to us. Given that Radha has so little favor in this region, I'm going to still try a little, just see what I can see. Yeah, If Radha starts generating more favor, then I think I'll let her take that region because I already have one and I think she would be able to use a second more than I could use a third. But we'll see. We'll see as the game progresses. And meanwhile, I've met Anupam. She's the third of the three players. So now we can continue. I'm just going to keep researching Gandhi. I'm going to get a forger now. And I think I will just go for some studying because that'll grow the studying districts that are attached to it. Similarly here, I'll just go for roles to grow that perception district. You can see the New York Times talking about how the farmers' protest forced Narendra Modi to give up his farmer bills. Just a large victory for non-violent protest, a very recent one too. So yeah, let's see what's going on next, right? Yeah, I'm just going to explore this by examining these question marks, which are anomalies. I can gain a little favor in that preserve and also potentially generate quests, which I can complete to gain significantly more favor in that group. In that district. You can see in a district like this one where we were that it's currently mixed. The majority of it sides with the environment, but you can see that there's one tile here that actually sides with Radha instead. I'm just going to keep searching for inspiration with that unit. Just go to different districts and check to see if it fits. You can take nebulous thoughts to districts, to quests, and to anomalies just to see where it fits and try to find something to complete. Okay, so over here we've got a new project unlocked here, group time, that costs 8. That would take 8 turns. So I'm going to start with roles so as to increase my productivity and then use that. Here, because this is connected to a perception district, it's generating a lot of self-improvement already. So even though this is an expensive project, it's still only 2 turns because of how much it's generating. So I'm just going to go for that. We do want to connect these districts. See, over here we have the perception district, and over here we have our city. So what we want to do is try to create a chain of tiles that are all part of one camp or the other, so that these two get connected and so that the benefits of this district are obtained by this city and vice versa. The benefits of like this district and this district go down to that city below. So we'll see what we can do. The other thing, of course, is we can move the city up here so that it's part of this existing large economic zone. But I do want to get that preserve linked into the zone as well. Meanwhile, all of our research thus far has led to us understanding some of the report topics. So we now have an acquaintance with Gandhi, which will allow us to build the Gandhi district once we've unlocked settling the cities. And it's also given us an acquaintance with beauty, which has unlocked a new project for us, researching facts specifically about beauty rather than about the world in general. With this harvester, I'm going to just try to harvest some of these valuable tiles, this one and this one, get that and take it to a district in order to develop that. Meanwhile, we're still kind of waiting to unlock that central region. These foragers will do a lot to help that, but also this exploration should have generated some quests that I might be able to use to get that done. This is from a novel by R.K. Narayan. This is Sartre talking about how the cost of the war in Algeria exceeded the revenue generated by Algeria for France. And so the colonies, the colonies and colonialism as a whole reach a point of self-destruction. This is Churchill and de Gaulle talking about how Churchill talked a big game about how colonies were a burden, and yet everybody was quite clear on the fact that he would not give up that burden, even if given squadrons of troops instead. So here we see a bunch of facts from about the same time with about the same theme, so we can combine those. However, we have yet to generate a district around the world. So what I'm going to start doing is, instead of researching Gandhi as much, I'm just going to research the world for a while, try to get some familiarity with that instead. And then when we've researched the ability to settle our cities, we'll be able to build a city, we'll be able to build a district to house our research on it. But for now, we're just still getting through these turns. So it's still slightly quiet turns. I think I will take this nomad and build and set up here, trying to lead this preserve into this very valuable tile. Oof, hold on, hindsight, I should have tried to lead this preserve into that tile. So maybe I'll go here instead and try to connect this like so, which will make it easier to connect that other preserve too. Just going to explore a little bit here. Let's check what these quests are. A second. So over here, you can see what our quests are. One is to complete a forager. I think we're doing that already. So I'm just going to let that camp be. This is tough. We have a quest to explore Churchill in the UK, but as I said before, we do want to explore the world to get ourselves ready for all of the facts that we have. I'm just going to do this for right now, though. In the meantime, these are the 22 vows of Ambedkar. Ambedkar, if you don't know, was a Dalit activist, contemporaneous with Gandhi. He was very active during the freedom struggle, campaigning for Dalit rights. Tirelessly doesn't even begin to cover the struggles that Ambedkar faced campaigning for Dalit rights. So that was the 22 vows that he administered during the mass conversion he led, where him and 600,000 of his followers converted from Hinduism to Buddhism as a statement about the caste discrimination suffered by many people in India at the time. Caste discrimination that continues to this day. Meanwhile, I was going to do this. I could take this thought and explore these ones down here, but I think I'll just take him over here, try to check fit there. Keep exploring. See what we got. This is another point by Sartre on the death throes of colonialism and how colonialism fouls the atmosphere. It's a great phrase there from Sartre, talking about how in service of colonialism, laws are mocked and caricatured, racism becomes omnipresent, and young men die, they fight and they die for the same principles, for the same Nazi principles that they fought against 10 years earlier. Fanon. This is Fanon writing to Sartre in the same book, talking about how the last battle of the colonized against the colonizers will often be that of the colonized among themselves. You really can see quite how the roots of colonialism are still present in much conflict that goes on today. So anyway, just going to keep researching. You can see we finally unlocked the central region here, the ridge. I'll just take this unit down to explore it. Let me just quickly check our favor first. You can see that Radha is beginning to build favor in this region here, this one here, and we have as much favor in the ridge as we do here. So I'm just going to take this unit down and try to build some favor in our newly unlocked region. This inspiration is just about complete, so that's pretty good. We can take this harvester, and I meant to bring this one here and try to use it to open the ridge. But since that's already open, I can reconsider that, but I think I'll just do it anyway, just for the growth in that region. Meanwhile, here's a new harvester. Let's quickly get that. Down here, I'll leave this. I will leave this district for Anupam. I'll let her get some growth going herself. And that's one of the biggest things about Syphilisation. It's that you are all working on this group report together. So where most Forex games are zero-sum, here it's very cooperative. So I do not need to try to expand as much as I can. I in fact want the other players to be doing well because that makes it much easier for us all to win. Right? In this case, just to have a good report and also to have a good relationship with each other. Squabbling over roles is a good way to sour that relationship. Meanwhile, I have brought this inspiration here, which was a big mistake. I actually should have brought it down to Kiran instead. But since it's here, I might as well explore with it. Just going to try to figure out this anomaly too. Let's renew this unit. Take this and let's see what our favor is like here. I can try to take this camp. Let's try to see what's going on there. There are already a lot of units there, so it's going to move it somewhere else. Meanwhile, this forger can drop the harvest there. You can see that grew that region. Just going to bring this unit over here. What is the quest here? The quest is to resolve claim. Okay, so I'm going to actually start some combat. Just try to unlock it directly. Morsi on Bengalis, the question of reparations from the wretched of the earth, and saving French and Algerians. Here Sartre is saying that both sides should in fact work to end colonialism because it damages both of them. We're building up some knowledge of the world, but we still have a way to go there, so let's see what happens. I'm just going to go with 2 major quests to grow preserves instead of trying to do a currency quest. Here you can see that even though we had even odds, we rolled badly and so we lost our unit there. We finished a new tech. I'm going to still go for settling because that'll allow us to settle nomads, which will allow us to build districts. Here are a bunch of texts on Churchill about his father, his mother, and his father, but also his grandson, yes, who is a politician himself, if I remember correctly. I think Nick Soames is his name. Anyway, we're going to take this forger, try to... I don't want to develop this preserve, especially because this is mostly currencies that preserve generates already, so it doesn't do much there. Instead, I think I'll take this unit over here and drop the harvest there. Meanwhile, we'll just try to figure out those anomalies and just explore a little bit here. And here's a new forger, or no, I'm sorry, here's the forger that I just took there to drop things off. I think I will move this unit here. And yeah, I can just quickly check fit there, check fit again. We'll try once more to take the direct route to opening up that region. And that is the first 25 turns of the game. So I'm just going to pause here and I'll see you in the next video.